Welcome to Barnabas's Boneyard. It's been a while, but life has been crazy. The holidays have been crazy, but it's 2024 now, and I am committed to putting out even more excellent horror content for all you fiends out there. And today's episode concerns what I guess you could say is the first big horror release of the year, which is Blumhouse and Atomic Monster's Night Swim. Now, this is pretty significant because this is technically the first motion picture released under the Blumhouse and Atomic Monster umbrella since they just completed their pretty storied merger. So now they're all kind of like one big company, still going to be creating movies and releasing them independently, but pooling resources and all that. So I think it's a pretty significant test for the companies now, with this movie coming out. And I think this movie is probably still going to generate a decent amount of money at the box office. I haven't looked at the numbers yet, but you still have to consider that this is a January horror release, which have historically and famously been plagued with all types of issues, and which have been known not to be the very best films that the genre has to offer. And sadly, Night Swim falls into that category for sure. So let's talk about it. So the movie is actually based on a 2014 short film, also called Night Swim, by the director of this feature, Bryce McGuire. And I actually did see the short film after I saw the feature, for what it's worth. And the short actually has a lot of good things about it. The atmosphere is pretty fantastic. It's only like 3 minutes long, but fitting this concept into that time frame, I think really works for it, because it's a super simple concept that is very relatable in the moment, right? I mean, swimming in the middle of the night, nobody's home, and just creepy things start happening. I mean, I think many of us have probably been there before, right? In at least a similar situation. So we kind of understand how something like that can be jarring and unnerving, and, diving under the water and seeing something creepy from underneath the water kind of on the outside, and then you pop your head back up and nothing's there. I mean, it's spooky for sure. And I think the short film nailed that idea and the vibe it was going for very well, but it didn't need to do anything more than that, because it's just a short film, right? It's just supposed to show you guys this cool idea and elicit that emotion, and that's it. But when you translate that into a feature film, you are like automatically forced to do so much more to generate interest, right? And maintain interest. And so for that reason, you have to create a self-sufficient plot, one that is engaging and interesting and has various moving pieces and points that like make sense and that you actually want to see come to some sort of meaningful conclusion. You need to have characters that drive that plot, which, themselves are also meaningful and have personality and unique qualities and everything like that, right? I mean, I know I'm just describing how a film should work, but the point is that the idea from the short film, for me at least, I don't know, maybe other people think differently, and that's fine, does not translate well into a feature film. And this movie is exactly the reason why. It's proof of that. With the first maybe like 15 to 20 minutes, I think, basically are just a drawn out version of the short film here. They set up the characters, they set up the plot, yeah, but more or less, you get a couple of those like spooky nighttime pool sequences and stuff, and then the movie really just sinks from there on. And there probably will be more water jokes, by the way, so just a heads up. But yeah, there's some genuinely like pretty cool scenes at the beginning of the movie that, like I said, just sort of illustrate what was cool about the short film. But the plot and the characters we get introduced to are just not it for me. Basically, the story revolves around a family, the Wallers, who move into this new house, basically to accommodate the father. He's a former professional baseball player, but he has this degenerative disease that basically took him out of action, but he still pines for baseball. He still wants to be a baseball player and an athlete and everything like that. But, he doesn't really have a choice. So they move into this suburban house. It's got a swimming pool in the backyard. And so he thinks that, he's going to go do some like water therapy in the swimming pool and everything like that. And maybe he'll recuperate. Who knows? His wife, played by Carrie Condon, is there. There's not really too much interesting about her character, unfortunately. And then their two kids. They've got the teen girl, Izzy, played by Emily Hofarrell. I'm probably mispronouncing that, so I apologize. And the young boy, Elliot, played by Gavin Warren. Pretty stereotypical nuclear family, white wife, daughter, son, right? That whole shtick. Pretty standard, pretty white bread. The movie doesn't really go to any absurd lengths to make them anything but that. And I mean, it's fine, but besides Ray, the father, who, yearns for baseball, like nobody else really has anything going on with them. There's like a slight little subplot with Izzy and some boy at school, but it's unimportant. It takes up all of like maybe one scene and doesn't really add anything to her character or the movie in general. And yeah, they discover weird things going on with the swimming pool. There's some kind of supernatural element to it that, wants sacrifices and stuff. And that's basically it. So the movie is just them kind of navigating this haunted pool, as it were, and a bunch of spooky little scenes and such. There really isn't anything more to the movie than that. Unfortunately, the high concept wears out its welcome super quick. Like I said, maybe in those 15 to 20 minutes, and then we get some like exposition. The movie really just evolves into a bunch of haunted house tropes after that, right? Somebody I think described it as Amityville horror meets something or other, and that's basically what it is. It meets a swimming pool, right? That's essentially it. Like the structure of the plot and everything is practically the same. The father starts getting possessed, and everything goes downhill, and then the family has to kind of try to figure out what's going on and save him. And there's this like parents versus children sort of like little internal rivalry going on, and the kids bicker with one another as well. We've seen it all before. You've got the typical like research scene where they go and do and look into what's going on. They go and follow up with the previous owner of the house about what's going on, and so there's more exposition, and there's that whole shtick, right? That happens in pretty much every like modern age supernatural movie. That's basically the whole movie, right? And then it's just tropes galore after that. There's the mishap of the innocent family animal, etc., etc. It's nothing really new. It's just got a few spooky swimming pool sequences, but even those sequences just get really kind of dull and repetitive after like the first half of the movie. I think that, like I said, those first couple of scenes are pretty cool. They showcase some like decent cinematography in the pool and showcase some decent practical effect makeup for the spirits or whatever they are inhabiting the pool. And there are some moments where that makeup and everything is quite cool. But yeah, unfortunately, the movie just fails to really capitalize on all of that and make an interesting story, make more interesting scenes, because even the underwater scenes toward the tail end of the movie are just really kind of like rushed and jarring, and I didn't think they were executed very well personally. It's just a lot of that, unfortunately, and there's nothing else really spectacular about the movie at all. I think the cast does a decent job with what they're given, and poor Carrie Condon. I mean, following up, the incredible Banshees of Inisherin with this movie is just rough, man. That's all I'm going to say. It was kind of a pain to see her in this role in this movie after that movie, but that's fine. I mean, Wyatt Russell also did a good job. He's still kind of like paying his dues, I feel like, on the come up. trying to find something that sticks, but this definitely is not it. I think his saving grace in the horror genre so far has definitely been Overlord. This movie, I hope, gets quickly forgotten because it's just a very poor effort in my opinion. Like I said, a high concept supernatural picture that just doesn't work as a feature film unless they really went balls to the walls crazy with the mythology and everything like that. But forcing it into this like typical suburban horror with all these tropes just proves that it's too difficult to expand upon the concept, I think. So ultimately it's just a dull kind of redundant horror film that just seems like every other Blumhouse movie that's come out, which is just, again, really unfortunate. Even the look of the movie, the color grading just screams like boring like Blumhouse movie, which is really sad because Blumhouse cultivated this reputation as a pretty quality horror production studio, and nowadays we just get movies like this that just get like pumped out constantly. And yeah, this movie I think will mostly appeal to like teenagers who are going to the movies late at night for some thrills, for some kicks, right? To have a good laugh, which is basically all my movie theater was, by the way. I just want to make an aside, like a little rant on the side. That's pretty much all my movie theater was. There were a few other like adults in there who just went to have a good time, but most of the movie theater was teenagers who probably weren't even meant to be in there, honestly. Like, I'm not sure if any of them even really had tickets, but there were like a couple groups that were just super obnoxious. Unfortunately, my wife and I sat next to some of them, and they were super annoying the entire time, just talking and giggling and making like snide remarks and getting up every 5 fucking minutes to go somewhere and do who knows what. Why do you need to get up so often? Can I just ask that question? And I understand if you have like some kind of condition or something like that where you need to go to the bathroom pretty often, or if you go up once to like refill your soda, that's fine. I don't care. But like kids like these do not need to be getting up every 10 minutes because they're probably going off to goof off. But it just really kind of ruins the theatrical experience for people like me and other people, unfortunately. And then just the talking and goofing off and being on their phones. So that definitely also kind of harshed my vibe when I was watching this in the movie theater. But it doesn't take away from how not good the movie is in general. So that's my opinion about Night Swim. I think it's... I don't think it's a sign of what's to come in 2024. I think this is definitely going to be an outlier because we've got a lot of really, incredible looking horror films coming out that I think have great potential, but this movie is a stinker for sure. I think I gave it a 1.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So if that tells you anything, I don't give scores that low very often, unless I think the movie is genuinely just not great. Some good elements here, mostly though, not very good. So that's it. Let me know your thoughts on Night Swim, and please expect many more videos to come from Grave Discussions and Barnabas' Boneyard this year. Let me know what you're interested in seeing me review or talk about, or if there's anything else you think would be well suited to this channel that we could try to do. I'm open to any and all ideas and feedback, but that's going to do it for me. Also, if you want to see the full written review of Night Swim, just head over to defactofilmreviews.com/night-swim. I'll post a link in the description as well, of course, but you can read my full thoughts on that. Maybe a little bit better articulated because I tend to go on rants in these videos, but that's going to do it. Stay tuned for more Grave Discussions. Of course, if you like the video, subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and comment and share if you want. And make sure you're subscribed to all our other social media channels as well. We post almost every day on TikTok. And yeah, so I'm Barnabas, of course, as always. We'll see you back here on grave discussions.